I miss both Maria Hill. I say the family name of our former director. So we have Maria Hill, the director of Cervantes. I'm going to give the floor to her soon, and also to Alfonso Herrero, the cultural attaché of the Embassy of Spain. But before that, I need to provide some security guidelines. I'm in charge in that, and I don't want to end in jail. So, in case of any emergencies, please feel calm. And we have two emergency exits. One is through the auditorium, the other one is through the stairs. And never, please don't take the lift, don't take the elevator. Don't worry, because we have our team trained to evacuate in case we need it. Okay, so now, as I say, our director is going to open the event. After that, our cultural manager is going to explain a bit the event that we are having today, but also the event that we are hosting along the month. So please welcome the cultural attaché of the Embassy of Spain and our director to the stage.
Instituto Cervantes and the Embassy of Spain in India are delighted to have you with us today to inaugurate the cultural program on the occasion of the Mes del Orgullo, the Pride Month. We know that queer voices have to be present in the cultural and creative programs throughout the year, but we also think that it's absolutely necessary to celebrate and claim LGBTQIA+ expressions in the month of June. More so in the present times when worldwide there are attempts to stop the existing rights, to underestimate the activism, and most importantly, to undermine the existence of millions of people. The Mes del Orgullo, the Pride Month, kickstarts today, this evening, with this magnificent mural created by Aravani Art Project. And during this month, we will have the opportunity to listen, feel, and explore diversity of queer narratives in fields such as visual arts, comics, cinema, and music, as today, with BB Navy DG set this evening, after this event. It's very touching to see Ocaña, a drag artist, performer, and painter from Spain, an LGBTQIA+ icon of Spanish queer history, especially during Franco's dictatorship, to share space with Deepa from Mumbai, right there, Deepa from Mumbai, and Sweta from Bangalore. Two transgender women artists with very powerful stories. They are members of Aravani Art Project, who have been painted by their fellow artists as a tribute to them and to the transgender community. We firmly believe in the power of this exchange between Spain and India by sharing stories, struggles, and the joy of being. We hope that for the next year we'll be able to open even more doors and have on board artists from Spanish-speaking countries and other parts of the Indian geography. For now, we hope that you will participate in and enjoy the upcoming events, activities. On the 19th of this month of June, we will hold a roundtable on dissident comic, queer comic in Spain and India, with Spanish comic book artists Susana Martin, Amruta Patil, India's first female graphic novelist, and Priya Dalini, illustrator and creative director of Gacy Family. On the 21st of June, a short film series most higher. First LGBTI festival in Spain, which celebrates now its 30th anniversary, will be screened at our auditorium, followed by a cinema forum moderated by the Queer Muslim Project. These short films can also be watched in any part of India and in the world through the Vimeo channel of Instituto Cervantes from the 5th, yesterday, to the 30th of June. So, please don't hesitate to share and infuse warmth and to light up perspectives. El mes del Orgullo, the Pride Month, is a celebration, but also is a moment to remind what Afro-American activist Marsha P. Johnson said. No pride for some of us without liberation of all of us. So, thank you very much. Now I will give the floor to Isabel, very important person to come this through to Isabel, Isabel Perez, the cultural manager of Instituto Cervantes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, I'd just like to say that for the embassy, it's a huge privilege to be here tonight, to be able to engage directly with so many friends, civil society organizations, and activists. So we're very grateful to both Maria, the director of Instituto Cervantes, and Isabel to allow us to contribute to this event and to this program throughout the month. I hope you enjoy Pride Month, Mes del Orgullo. Thank you so much.
Buenas tardes. Good evening. Thank you very much, Maria Gil, Director of Instituto Cervantes, and Alfonso Herrero, Cultural Attaché of the Embassy of Spain, for the support. It's very important, because without this support, these kind of programs cannot be taking place. So, in fact, we are going to continue on this path of inspiration and empowerment, because Aravani Art Project artists are here with us. So I would like to invite Purnima, Bini, and Alish to come to the stage to join us for the round table, and as well Sahil Chaudhry, our moderator, so please join us. I guess you may agree with me that we are so lucky of being seated right now in front of their most recent artwork. We have also the pleasure of having Sahil Chaudhry as the moderator of this round table. Sahil Chaudhry is a human rights advocate and the program director of the New Delhi LGBTQIA+ Center, an initiative of the NAS Foundation, with years of experience working at the intersections of gender, sexuality, HIV, and sex workers' rights. Sahil leads initiatives providing mental health support, legal aid, sexual health services, and community-based advocacy. We would like to thank New Delhi LGBTQIA+ Center and the NAS Foundation for becoming one of our associated partners for Mes del Orgullo, together with the Queer Muslim Project. Please allow me to remind you that after the panel discussion, you are invited to have a drink and prepare yourself to enjoy a DJ set by Bibi Nabi. Bibi Nabi is a non-binary artist inspired by melodic magical loops, sounds from the future, anime, and amber jingles. This evening, Bibi Nabi will delight us with electrifying selections to dance and celebrate. Having said that, let's enjoy the talk. Dhanyavad. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Hello, good evening everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I learned so quickly, I think really आपको हिंदी ज़्यादा comfortable है. So I'll try and translate as much as I can of everything we speak here in English or in Hindi for you. मैं हिंदी में translate करता रहूँगा बीच-बीच में, अगर आप जैसे जवाब देना है उसको मैं अंग्रेजी में translate करने की कोशिश करूँगा. I think Kanchana.
And I will translate it from Tamil to English.
Thank you so much. But let's try and not make language the barrier today. I think the room is full और हम मिल जाएंगे बहुत सारे translators. तो आप जिस भी भाषा में comfortable हैं, in whatever language you feel comfortable, try and engage with the discussion. And before starting, I think Purnima and I were talking about how there is so much traction to our work during this time of the year, right? And there's too much work sometimes to just manage and sometimes it gets a little on your nerves as well, because a lot of those opportunities, those work things, tasks are coming from people who are just ticking off some boxes, people who have not engaged with the community before. And it doesn't feel very authentic, very genuine. But I'm so grateful how the Cultural Center here has decided. I really appreciate the intention behind the month-long engagement with the community, centering community, bringing the art to this part of the country where I think, of course I knew of your work, but to see it in person is something else. So thank you so much for creating this genuine effort to make queer voices and give them a center stage throughout the month. मैं जल्दी में थोड़ा ये बोल रहा था कि generally Pride Month के around बहुत लोग हमसे reach out करते हैं, काम करने की कोशिश करते हैं, पर ज़्यादातर लोगों का ऐसा लगता है कि पूरी इच्छा नहीं है, सिर्फ टिक मार्क करने के लिए कर रहे हैं. पर मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा देख के कि कल्चरल सेंटर ने शुरुआत इतने मीनिंगफुल तरीके से की और फिर पूरे महीने उन्होंने एक्टिविटीज़ प्लान की हैं जिसमें वो कम्युनिटी को एक सेंटर स्टेज दे रहे हैं. But I think it would be an unfortunate amiss if we do not hear the story behind what brings you folks here today. What is the story mean? I know that it started in 2016. I also think that this project is more than art. I think it's activism, it's visibility like no other to queer issues, especially trans issues in India. So what motivated you, Purnima? How did it all start? And yes, maybe fill us in.
It only sank in when you said we started 2016, which means next year is going to be 10 years for us, which is something that we're not to make it really quick and short, I myself was a very shy artist and I studied art, and that's the only thing I knew, and I just opened it out for anybody to learn. It was not like, oh, I had an epiphany moment with a trans person and everybody's expecting that kind of a masala story because they're like, what happened? Why did you choose this community? I think they also chose me. That was more important in this situation. I think it was just easy to make friends for me with the trans people, and I had an opportunity to. And I think all of us came up with this project together back in 2016, and it just snowballed into whatever it is now. None of us have a prior knowledge of running an organization. I never thought I'd be doing that. I thought I'd be in some village painting alone. So yeah, from that to here, I think what was essential was that we wanted to create space for people who don't necessarily use activism with words or by speaking or by attending protests. Not everybody has either the privilege or maybe the mental health or the mental strength to be there in such a form. So why not use art also, right? So I think we also chose consciously to work with people from the community who are not specifically educated or who have socio-economic issues or who are sex workers, who are begging even now. And most of them in our team also used to practice that, still practice that when there is no projects, for example. So we are not there to reform their life, or we're not there to tell them that it's good or bad, but we are there to provide them a safe space and make their own choices, which art also becomes a choice.
Absolutely. But I think you came up with this idea that, okay, I'm opening it up for people to join. But how did the team also, like, if you can just quickly tell us, like, how many people started and then how many people progressively joined the team? Because now it's a lovely team of how many people?
Now maybe 35, 40.
How nice, right? Commendable. How did then this become a small army of its own? How, like, progressively how people join?
Yes, I think we like to bank on the word small, even though, because people are really big with, oh, what are the numbers, how many people in your organization? We're like, okay, we are just 35 to 40 people, and even in 10 years, that's all we want to grow. We want to grow organically. We are not in a hurry. Of course, we work with several transgender people without them having to join the project as such. So we do a lot of research, we take a lot of stories from them, we also get into the cultural aspects of either festivals or mythology. For all of that, we meet different kinds of people who are practicing these things. So when we started, we never really focused on the number. We never have ever. I think it started with about 10 of us. Of course, I was not part of the community. And I never felt like an outsider at that time as well. And then we moved to Bombay, and it was all based on friendship, because we would meet somebody in Bangalore and they would be like, I have a friend in Bombay, why don't you go and paint there? So we were all put in touch through friends. It was a really small network. Then of course Chennai was a big part of it. And Kanchana is here from Chennai. And she's been with us for 10 years now, 9 years with the project. So yeah, I think it was just not too planned. It was very organic. We're like, oh, okay, you have a friend in Chennai, can we go meet them? It would just be like that. We would just catch up over a meal, have chai, discuss, and then do a project together.
So at NAS, not to take away from what's happening here, but there are similar stories because we work with the trans population here in Delhi, mostly street-based trans populations, and some people do sex work and other means of livelihood. And what I'm wearing today is Khanjra. So we have a jewelry brand where trans workers make jewelry. And I have seen that journey also, how economic empowerment, how, of course the idea is not rehabilitation, but also to give them this power to negotiate when they're on the streets, when they're doing sex work. And I've seen those lives change and evolve. I would also like to understand from the artists how the project has contributed to their lives and how it has evolved. मैं थोड़ा सा जल्दी से सवाल पूछता हूँ। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि दिल्ली में मेरी संस्था भी ट्रांस लोगों के साथ काम करती है और ज़्यादातर उन लोगों के साथ जो या तो टोली बधाई में है या फिर बत्ती पे है या फिर सेक्स वर्क में है। और हमने अपने एक ज्वेलरी का छोटा सा शुरू किया है 2 साल पहले और उससे उनको बहुत ज़्यादा ये पावर मिल गया कि वहाँ पे ना कह सकें। अगर 4 लोगों का ग्रुप आ रहा है बिना अपॉइंटमेंट के चाहते हैं ये जो भी उनकी सिचुएशंस हैं, they can say no once they make that money, कहीं और से वो पैसा मिल रहा है। तो मैंने रियल उनके जीवन में देखा है, तो मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि अगर आप प्रोजेक्ट का आपके जीवन पे क्या असर रहा, किस तरह से बदलाव आया, अगर उसके बारे में बता सकते।
मैं बालू हार्ट प्रोजेक्ट से पहले जो थी वो सेक्स वर्क में मैंने 6 महीने तक ही किया था, तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि शायद मैं जब बाहर रोड पे जाती हूँ तो लोग मुझे उस नज़र से देखते हैं कि एक ट्रांस है तो ये सेक्स ही कर सकता है। लेकिन उसके बाद में मेरे को ये चीज़ भी करना अच्छा नहीं लगा, तो इसलिए मैंने ये काम छोड़ दिया, क्योंकि हम लोग जब तक ही खूबसूरत दिखते हैं तभी तक कि हमें लोग पूछ सकते हैं सेक्स में। तो उसके बाद मैंने अपने एनजीओ में किया, वहाँ से भी मैंने कम से कम 3 साल इंटरसेक्ट में चाहिए से काम किया ट्रांस करने के लिए। और उसके बाद में मैं हरवारी में ज्वाइन की हुई 2022 में ऑस्ट्रेलियन बेस में फर्स्ट वॉर मैंने वहीं पे हरवारी के साथ में काम किया, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। और बचपन से ही मैं चाहती थी कि मैं टोली या बस्ती में जाके लोगों के सामने घरों में जाके भीख मांगना ना करूं और कुछ अपने से कुछ ऐसा करूं जो कि मैं मेहनत करके कमा सकूं। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हरवारी शायद उन ट्रांस कम्युनिटी को आगे बढ़ाता है जो इन सब चीज़ों में इंटरेस्ट रखता है। तो मैं थैंक यू हरवानी को और पूर्णिमा मैम को बोलना चाहूँगी कि हम लोगों के लिए इतना सोचा और अभी हमने एक्सेस गैलरी मुंबई में 9 साल पूरे सेलिब्रेट किए। तो थैंक यू पूर्णिमा मैम जो ट्रांस के लिए इतना कुछ सोचती हैं।
He said that I did sex work for 6 months. I couldn't do it for longer. I thought that when I walked on the streets, people looked at me a certain way, and then they thought that a trans woman can only earn through sex work. That's how people perceived her. But then she thought that she wanted to always do more. She did not want to follow the conventional path that is, fortunately or unfortunately, sort of pre-decided for a lot of community members from marginalized backgrounds, that they'll end up in sex work or totally or blessing work or on the red lights. And she says that in 2022 she found herself with the project. Her first project was with the Australian Embassy office in Chennai. In Delhi? Oh, Connaught. So, and here she's learned that somehow the members of the community who always wanted to be outliers, who wanted to do something different, have found home at the project. And that's been a learning for her in her own journey with the project. So thank you.
I translated, she answered and I translated.
வணக்கம், என்னோட பேர் காஞ்சனா, நான் சென்னையிலிருந்து வரேன். அரவாணி ப்ராஜெக்டில் நான் ஜாயின் பண்ணுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து நான் என்ன பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தேன்னா ஒரு ஸ்டேஜ் டான்ஸராக இருந்தேன். அது ஒரு 5 வருஷம் 6 வருஷம் கிட்ட ஸ்டேஜ் டான்ஸராக போயிட்டு இருந்தது. அப்புறம் எனக்கு காலில் சின்ன 2015-2004 வந்து அதுலேருந்தே ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகி 2015ஓட என்னோட டான்ஸ் இது முடிஞ்சுது. சின்னதாக எனக்கு ஒரு ஆக்சிடெண்ட் ஆச்சு, அதுலேருந்து டான்ஸுக்கு போகிறதில்ல. அப்புறமா பெக்கிங் போயிட்டு இருந்தேன், கடையாக பெக்கிங் போயிட்டு இருந்தேன். அப்புறமா தான் எங்கள் ஏரியாவில் அரவாணி ஆர்ட் ப்ராஜெக்ட் 2016 முதல் மனிதம் மலரட்டும்ட்டு வால் ப்ராஜெக்டில் எங்கள் ஏரியாவில் வந்து பண்ணாங்க ஊரில் எங்கள் சௌந்தரியமா மூலியமா. அப்போ தான் எனக்கு பழக்கமானாங்க. அவங்க வந்து எனக்கு சொன்னாங்க, பூர்ணி நீங்கள் வந்து ஏன் இப்படி கஷ்டப்படுறீங்க, இந்த மாதிரி பண்ணாதீங்க, உங்களுக்கு ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு வாய்ப்பை நான் தரேன், சான்ஸை நான் தரேன், நீங்கள் அதை பயன்படுத்திக்கோங்க. அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி நான் அதை கப்புன்னு பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டேன். ஸோ பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு அப்போ 2016 இப்போ வரைக்கும் 2025 வரைக்கும் அரவாணி ஆர்ட் ப்ராஜெக்டில் ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு பொசிஷனில் நல்ல ஒரு வால் ப்ராஜெக்ட் ஆர்டிஸ்டாக எங்கே போனாலும் நான் ஆர்டிஸ்டாக தெரியறதுக்கு காரணம் பூர்ணிமா மேம் தான். இந்த அளவுக்கு நான் நல்லபடியாக வளர்ந்துருக்கேன். ஆனால் இதுக்கு மேலே நான் வளரணும்னு ஆசைப்படுறேன். தேங்க்ஸ் டு பூர்ணிமா மேம். நீங்கள் சொல்லுங்கள் நான் சொன்னதை சொல்லுங்கள். இன்னும் நான் ஆர்ட்டில் நிறைய விஷயம் கற்றுக்கணும். எனக்கு உடம்புலையும் சரி மனசுலையும் சரி எந்த ஒரு கஷ்டமாக இருந்தாலும் எங்கள் மேம் தான் வந்து அதை சால்வ் பண்ணி வைப்பாங்க. அது தேவிக சொல்லுங்கள். இன்ன வரைக்கும் ஆர்டிஸ்டாக இருக்கிறது நான் ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்படுறேன். தேங்க்ஸ் டு பூர்ணிமா மேம். அரவாணி ஆர்ட் ப்ராஜெக்ட்.
I will make this very short. So before she started Arvani Art Project, she used to be a stage dancer, and they would perform at different street festivals that happen across Tamil Nadu. It could be in villages, it could be for celebrations. And because of a small accident, she couldn't dance after that. She had met with an accident and she couldn't dance. And so she started doing begging for some years. And until we went as a group, not just me, it was a group effort. So all of us, we had gone to Chennai because there was a case of violence on a trans woman, and a trans woman had burned herself in like a response to this. And we felt that was extremely powerful, and we felt like, all her friends and her comrades probably needed some way to bend this out, because obviously the news agencies or anybody is not going to pay attention to this. So we had approached that team and we told them we would love to paint a portrait of her to remind the people in the community that setting yourself ablaze is not an answer to the anger that you have towards a government body. So we had done a workshop with about 55 to 60 trans women who live in the same building, and I had the privilege of living there for a week. It was like a summer vacation for me in Chennai, and that's when I met Kanchana as well. And she's one of the most passionate artists I've ever met. More than a trans woman, she's an artist first, and she loves calling herself that as well. So she's like, now I've latched onto them and I'm not going to let them go. So that's what she's trying to say.
And both of them said multiple times, thank you Purnima ma'am, thank you Purnima ma'am. So that part we could make up. I have a question to you and then to them as well. From the work that the project has done, there's a lot of course visibility is a big factor. It's so eye-catching, the work, for lack of a better word. But I think advocacy, a lot of workshop related structure around this art, that it's not just art but also engaging with local communities, engaging with community members, but also intersectional. I know that you've worked with women from marginalized backgrounds, you've also worked with trans women in different areas. So how important that part of the work is to you as a founder, as somebody who's looking into the programming of it all. But I also want to learn from the artists, maybe they did not have it as an agenda, but how has that informed their art, them as people, them as activists in their own rights? मैं ये सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ कि प्रोजेक्ट में ऐसा ही नहीं है कि सिर्फ आर्ट बनाई है, मतलब जितना मुझे समझ में आया, बहुत खूबसूरत बनाया जो बनाया वो एकदम से आंखों को कैच होता है, पर मुझे लगता है इसके साथ साथ जुड़ा हुआ बहुत ज़्यादा जागरूकता फैलाने का काम है, लोगों के साथ जुड़ के काम करने का काम है, उनके साथ वर्कशॉप्स करते हैं, उनके साथ बात करते हैं, उनके हकों के बारे में बात करते हैं। तो मैं उनसे पूछ रहा हूँ पूर्णिमा से कि उनके लिए वो पार्ट कितना ज़रूरी है काम का, क्योंकि वो तो फाउंडर है, वो इस बारे में सोच रही है, पर जैसे हम लोग आर्टिस्ट हैं, हमारे लिए जब हमने काम में ये देखा कि हम दूसरी औरतों के साथ काम कर रहे हैं जो शायद मुश्किल हालातों से आ रही हैं, या हम और दूसरे कम्युनिटी के लोगों के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, तो उससे हम एक इंडिविजुअल के रूप में कितने बदले, क्या सीखा, और हमारी कला, हमारे काम में भी क्या उसका प्रभाव पड़ा है। तो ये मैं तो शायद पहले पूर्णिमा जवाब दे दें और फिर अगर आपके पास कोई जवाब है तो
I think before the word intersectionality even entered our dictionaries, it has always existed, especially in a country like India. Even though we know that several years ago it was not, the trans people or LGBTQI plus were not as visible or might have not come out and shown the kind of support or friendships they have shared with people who are not from the community. It's always existed, and more so I can say from the trans community or where we work with. There have been, since they all live in either smaller slums or ghettos, their neighbors are aunties who become mother figures. Their neighbors are best friends who are again gossiping, getting to know what their life is. Because there they don't have a segregation of class, they all live in a similar...
So it's shared.
Yes.
Challenges,
so
shared.
Kanchana's best friend is a cis woman, right? So when she's not at home, it's somebody else watering her plants. Who is a cis woman? But they don't think of it as, oh, this is an intersectional movement or everything is not labeled, because this is our everyday life. And that's what was beautiful when we were friends and we were researching, and I myself am a cis woman, and how interesting it was for them to interact with me, or for me to interact with them, to understand what our similarities were. And I think we rode on that similarities till now. And like I was mentioning to you earlier, it was important for me, I felt, that all the team members get exposed to also be easily commissioned to do other projects which might not be related to
Like
gender.
animals.
Animals, we work with like garbage workers and their rights, got to know about their lives and how it is, what is the importance of garbage segregation. So it's important that they get a glimpse of many things. We painted in a blind school, we painted in like, not yet in a dog home, we are going to. So I think we are open to doing several things, and it's important for them to get that exposure, because you can often get lost and very caught up in your own fight, and we get it. And it's important to also know the different kinds of fights that are happening around us.
And artists so inspired by life, and life is this.
Yes.
Right? Life is a mixture of
It's
everything.
not in
that we-
isolation at all.
Right, absolutely.
Yes, and that's what we wanted to also portray through our project, that it is an intersectional collective, because we are all actually in the society. We cannot separate ourselves, and we cannot again become only a trans organization or only a woman or only men. We have all three, and all three are important, and all three work with each other. And that is the rule of our organization. Like, without those people, the projects won't run.
कुछ बेनीस में ऐड करना चाहेंगे कि एक आर्टिस्ट के तौर पे जब हम इतने अलग अलग तरह के मुद्दों पे काम कर लेते हैं, कभी एक ऐसे स्कूल में जिसमें बच्चे देख नहीं सकते, या फिर किसी गार्बेज वर्कर के साथ जो कूड़े उठाने का, या फिर औरतों के साथ जो मुश्किल समस्याओं से आ रही हैं, तो उनके साथ हाँ जब हॉस्पिटल में, तो अपने एज अ आर्टिस्ट भी अपने अंदर आपने कुछ बदलाव देखा है इन सारे पड़ावों से गुजरने के बाद?
हमने एमपी में पर काम किया था बुंदेलखंड में, तो वो हम लोग ने स्कूल में पेंट किया था वॉल पेंट। तो वहाँ पे जब ब्रेक का टाइम था, तो बच्चे हमें कमेंट्स करके जा रहे थे गंदे गंदे कि हिजड़ा है, मीठा चक्का, इस तरह के कमेंट किया। तो हमें शायद अच्छा नहीं लगा, क्योंकि हम सिर्फ आर्टिस्ट की तरह वहाँ पर काम करने गए थे, लेकिन लोगों जो वहाँ के बच्चे थे वह हमें गालियाँ से बोल रहे थे। तो हमारे एक विकी सिंह हैं, आर्टिस्ट हैं, वो मुंबई से, तो उनको बहुत बुरा लगा कि इस तरीके से हम लोग काम करने आए हैं, आपके स्कूल को अच्छा करने आए हैं, और आप हमें इस तरीके से बिहेव करें या हमें कमेंट्स करें। तो उस दिन हमने टीचर से बात की, और उसके बाद हमने ब्रेक के टाइम में बताया टीचर्स को कि उनको बताइए कि समाज में एक ट्रांसजेंडर जैसा भी पर्सन है, जो कि आप लोगों ने हमेशा देखा होगा कि वो भीख मांगते हैं या फिर टोली बस्ती करते हैं, लेकिन नहीं, ये जरूरी नहीं कि सिर्फ हम ट्रांसजेंडर हैं तो भीख ही मांग सकते हैं, सेक्स वर्क कर सकते हैं। हम लोग और भी काम कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि अभी अरबानी में हम लोग आर्ट कर रहे हैं। तो वो चीज़ हमने वहाँ पे समझाई, तो वो शायद मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा बहुत फर्क पड़ा हो टीचर्स को और बच्चों को। और काफ़ी बार हम लोगों के साथ में ऐसे घटनाएं घटती हैं जो कि हमें बिल्कुल ही बर्दाश्त नहीं होता, लेकिन हम फिर भी क्या सोचते कोई नहीं, इनका बस कहना ये चलो कहते रहने दो, लेकिन हमें अपना काम खुद से करना और काम करते रहना है। तो हम ये सब चीज़ को इग्नोर करके समाज को आगे बढ़ते रहते हैं और अपना काम खुद से करते हैं।
Jenny talked about her experience of working in the school in Bundelkhand, where she and her fellow artists were working on a mural, and the children in the school were completely desensitized to the idea of trans people in a role of an artist. And they would pass the generic remarks, the bullying, the cuss words were rampant. And she says that we tolerated it for a day or two, but some of us really got fed up and decided to speak with the principal. And we then asked the principal to arrange a conversation between them, the artists, and the teachers in the school. They had a proper session with them saying that the students must have not seen or might not have seen trans people in outside of these conventional understandings of where and what they do. So please educate them. Please tell them that trans people can also be artists. Trans people can be whoever they want to be. They do not have their fate set in sex work and begging. And she feels that conversation, and she hopes that conversation ignited some small change at that school. So thank you, and I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Because learning doesn't always happen in one go. It's also what impressions you leave behind, and I think your work speaks for itself. So once it's set there on the wall, I think the advocacy continues. वो काम चलता रहेगा क्योंकि वो दीवार पे permanently छप गया है आपकी कलम. So thank you so much.
So Archana has also worked in several different spaces like maybe schools, we have painted in hospitals, we painted in cafes, and what she feels is that there is always going to be all sorts of people. There are people who have obviously made fun and have also been very surprised with the fact that, oh, can these people actually do these things? To people who are really kind, who are always saying, great job, this is something we've never seen, and she's like, either the comments come or not, it keeps driving her to do more of it because she feels the more, of course, the more the comments are bad or is hurtful, she feels like the purpose of doing the work is much more stronger. And she's like, the difficulties are always going to be there, and she wants to use that as a strength to lead her life rather, and that's her mindset.
We don't have much time before we open it up for the audience, so I reserve some serious questions for them. But before we go there, I also want to quickly highlight how, because I work in this space, I work with the NAS Foundation and communities. I really found it fascinating that you've managed to, for those who do not know, in Mumbai, the project has engaged with the local government bodies. They have painted metro pillars, they have painted underpasses, they have done the same in Bangalore as well. Bangalore airport. So if you're there, you just, you better get a picture click next to the art piece. So, like breaking that glass ceiling with government, with local bodies, because I think that's what we are struggling with in the LGBTQI movement here. We have zero engagement with the government. Of course, there's no intention from the other side either. But like, I think it's very important, even if it seems like a low-hanging fruit that trans projects get that kind of support from the government. But how has it been, and how important, and is it also a segue then to open it up for larger discussions in any way, if at all it is?
So,
And can it be replicated somewhere else?
yeah, we want to. Our intention is to replicate it in all cities because I think it's not happening because the only person who's kind of meeting everybody is me and I can't be in all those places I wish. But what has been very, very interesting is that the government has approached us with these projects, right? So we have not gone asking them like we come and paint. They have approached us because luckily we have something to offer. It's not just the fact that they need to engage with the community because they need to tick a box. They need to get some work done, which makes us like professionals, like professional painters, so that they actually call us because of the work we do and not because we are a trans collective. So that has been the way we've developed the organization from the beginning. We always wanted to be known for our work rather than for the people who are part of it. People who are part of it is the biggest part of it, but we don't want people to be like, oh, it's painted by trans people, so sweet, or they be like, oh my god, who painted this?
Right.
So I think that has also been something that the people in the community wanted. They're like, no, it's okay if they don't know who we are, but they should like our art. So I think collectively, since all of us feel that way, with government, the best project I think till now for me, which was most surprising, was from the Election Commission. And they called us to paint about democracy inside their office. And I don't think, I've never met the IAS officer after that. Because obviously he got fired or he's moved. Like so, it was amazing to paint inside the Election Commission office during election about democracy by transgender.
Maybe the latter was the reason.
Yeah.
Not engaging with trans.
Yeah. So like we've had such really kind of people also thinking and looking at us in that way, which has been, we're so grateful because without having to go door to door and approach these people, we got these projects. So even now, if the Bangalore Metro gets a project, they'll show our project as an example because we've been able to execute it that way. And that is also possible because of an intersectional team. Right? So I think Delhi, yeah, it's been a tough cookie to crack, but we should do it again.
I'll open it up to the audience now. I'll just quickly translate it for Vicky. मैं ऐसे बात कर रहा हूँ कि आप लोगों ने बहुत सारे काम सरकार के प्रोजेक्ट्स पे भी किया है। बस एक विषय था कि हमारे लिए वो बड़ी चुनौतीपूर्ण रहता है दिल्ली में। दिल्ली में क्या और भी दूसरी जगहों पे कि सरकार के साथ काम कैसे किया जाए क्योंकि उनके दिमाग बदलने, उनके एटीट्यूड्स बदलने कम्युनिटी को लेकर बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो उसकी सक्सेस के बारे में बात करें तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारा एक्सपीरियंस काफ़ी अच्छा रहा क्योंकि हमारी आर्ट अपने बारे में खुद बोल देती है, उनको जरूरत नहीं है कि हमें ट्रांस लोगों के साथ काम करना, उनको वो आर्ट चाहिए एंड फिर उसके लिए उनको ट्रांस लोगों के साथ काम करना ही पड़ता है। ठीक है, तो but kudos to you and the entire team. Let's open it up to the audiences. If you have anything to say, if you want to just congratulate them on this fantastic work, or if you have any questions, let's do that.
First of all, congratulations on this beautiful work, and Purnima, you as well, commendable work that you guys are doing. The one question I have is that since you have traveled far and wide in India with your cause, is there a disparity between regions that you see? Is there a difference in approach towards trans people in certain states? And
क्या आपका एक्सपीरियंस कुछ जगह बेहतर और कुछ जगह खराब रहा, उस बारे में हमसे सुना।
Well, I'm going to sound politically wrong because actually not. So there are even, I think, very individualistic in all of these states, whether it has been in the middle of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, which was the most difficult terrain I think we have painted, and we were there for almost a month. एक महीने थे ना हम बुंदेलखंड में, and we painted about I think 9 schools in those regions. They are very very remote. They might have never seen a trans person before, because if there was a trans person in their village, obviously that person has ran away to a bigger city. That's what ends up happening in these smaller towns. I think it is very very individualistic. In the same village where we might have faced bad comments or people coming and actually making fun of them and knocking on their doors in the night if they are sleeping. And obviously we were staying in like small lodges and towns and working around, traveling by tractor. We've done everything. It's just been adventurous throughout. The tractor driver might have been the most sweetest man you would have ever met, but maybe the guy who we are going to buy juice from wouldn't be. He'd be like, I don't want to give you juice. So you don't know where these things pop up. So I cannot generalize and say that an entire state is being rude, but in general I think the acceptance in say Tamil Nadu is far more better, because they are kind of more aware and educated about generally, just maybe because of those festivals that the transgender people have there or are more visible there, and they're also seen as people who are close to God and take blessings and these things. Whereas obviously it changes immediately in the night, they become sex workers, the same people who they were praying to in the morning. So it's a very dichotomous situation everywhere. Where we felt or where I feel it is unsafe for trans women are largely Jharkhand maybe or Chhattisgarh, because we have gone and spoken to the women there, and there are larger problems because of the environment and us digging and mining and the tribes and naxals, that the trans issues are quite a bit lost in these states. And I still don't have proper exposure to Northeast, which I would love to. I think another life I have to dedicate to that, because the movements there are so crazy and next level and powerful, and also very accepting of the trans and the LGBT and the queer community in Northeast is very powerful as well. So I think as much as we've done so much in 9 years, it's still so less, and I feel there's so much to do, and I hope we get opportunities to do all of that. So, what are the state just in Madhya Pradesh state sorry, I don't know.
மோஸ்ட்லி நான் இந்தியாவில் எல்லா இடத்துலையும் அர்பானியா ப்ராஜெக்ட்லேருந்து நாங்கள் வால் ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். எல்லாமே பார்க்குற பீப்புள் பார்க்குற விதம் வந்து அவங்க லுக் எல்லாம் ஒரே மாதிரி தான். வித் திஸ் இஸ் ட்ரான்ஸ் உமன் வால் ஆர்ட் வால் அவ்வளோதான். ஏன்னா அவங்க ஒரு வித்தியாசமான பார்வை வந்து எப்போவுமே ஒரு ட்ரான்ஸ் கம்யூனிட்டியாக இருக்கட்டும், பீப்புளாக இருக்கட்டும், எல்லாருமே பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா இவங்க ஒரு வேலை பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா அதை பார்த்துட்டு தான் இருக்கிறாங்க. ஸோ அதை பற்றி அது நல்ல விதமாகவும் இருக்கலாம், கெட்ட விதமாகவும் இருக்கலாம், அது எப்படி வேணாலும் அவங்க எடுத்துக்கலாம். ஸோ ஆனால் எங்களுக்கு தேவை அவங்க நம்மளை பார்க்குறாங்க வேலை செய்யும் போது. ஸோ வேலை அதை பார்க்கும்போது எனக்கு சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. அவங்க அதை பற்றி கவலையே இல்லை.
Saying whether it was a bad perspective or a good perspective, the fact that they are looking at us and that we are working is more important. I don't care about whether it was bad, good, but I want them to see us working. So that's what the point is.
Any other questions? Any comments? Remarks?
First, I would like to thank you for making this mural. It's quite wonderful. My question is, how can other members of the community who are not artists support you? मेरा सवाल ये है आपसे कि बाकी कमेटी के मेंबर्स जो आर्टिस्ट नहीं हैं वो आपको कैसे सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं?
Thank you so much. We do get a lot of queries, and so you don't have, none of them have studied art here. We're all just painting because we love to do that. But if there is any way to contribute, yes, you can tell us what ways you can contribute, and we can see how that fits in with how we are functioning. And it's a bit slow and tedious to work with us, unfortunately, because obviously the first preference is for the artists, and maybe if it's not them, there are 30 others who are having some trouble or the other in their life. So we are constantly catering to everyone at any given point in time. So, but yes, we are looking at doing more projects in Delhi or having people who can talk for us over here because we are not able to be present, or can support them when they have a workshop or when they have a stall or something like that. So we always are looking for people to support us. Hopefully slowly we will have the bandwidth to have a group of volunteers where we can share about these things that are happening, and if anybody can help out and things like that. So hopefully we try and make like a group and a system where in every city where we are present there is.
मैंने बोला कि अगर आपकी इच्छा है कंट्रीब्यूट करने की तो पहले आप ही हमको थोड़ा बताइए कि आप किस एरिया में हमें मदद कर सकते हैं, और फिर हम देखेंगे कि अपने काम पे कैसे फिट होता है। दूसरा हम बोल रही है कि क्योंकि हम हर जगह नहीं हो सकते तो हम लोग आगे चल के एक ऐसा नेटवर्क बनाना चाह रहे हैं जो हमारे सपोर्टर्स का हो, हमें वॉलंटियर्स का हो, और जब हम स्टॉल लगाएं, जब हम दिल्ली में नहीं हैं, हमें किसी कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी आ रही है तो वहाँ पे हमारी मदद कर सकें। आपको कुछ ऐड करना है सर? ठीक है, ठीक है।
Okay, last question for Teds.
Hi, thank you very much for this beautiful painting. I hope you will paint all over India with these beautiful different colors. मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है because like since we have different transgender community in different cities like Chennai or Bombay or in Odisha, so how the response from the transgender, कैसा response है आपकी community से? क्योंकि आप लोग different काम कर रहे हैं, and then other transgender women they do different work. So how the response from within the community when they see you, because you are kind of inspiration for other transgender women. So how's their response?
कम्युनिटी के अंदर जो साथी हैं बंधु हैं उनका कैसा रिएक्शन है आपके काम को?
हमारी कम्युनिटी में अक्सर लोग जो है वो यही सोच चलते हैं कि अगर मैं कुछ करूँगी तो सिर्फ टोली बस्ती ही कर सकती हूँ और कुछ नहीं कर सकती, क्योंकि उनकी जो है ना वो एजुकेशन पे ही शुरुआत से हो जाती है। जब हम स्कूल में होते हैं तो स्कूल में हमारे साथ वायलेंस होता है तो वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग पढ़ नहीं पाते हैं, तो उस चक्कर में शायद हम सोचते हैं कि आप लाइफ तो हमारी पढ़ाई लिखाई में गई नहीं है तो क्यों ना हम लोग या फिर सेक्स वर्कर में इन्वॉल्व हो जाए या फिर हम टोली बधाई बस्ती में चले जाए। और मुझे लगता है शायद टोली बधाई बस्ती में जाने के बाद वो शायद थोड़ा ज़्यादा पैसे भी कमा लेते हैं, इसलिए वो इंटरेस्ट भी टोली बस्ती में रखते हैं। और हमारी खुद की फीलिंग भी ऐसी होती है कि हम डांस करना है मजे करते हैं, और सॉन्ग में हो तो सॉन्ग में डांस करेंगे, तो इसलिए हम लोग सबसे पहले अपना स्टेज जो है टोली बस्ती का ही अपनाते हैं। और जब हमारी कम्युनिटी अब हमारी जब बोलती है इस चीज़ के लिए तो वो भी यही बोलती है कि आओ हमारे पास और हमारे साथ में आके आप काम करो और हमारे साथ में ऐसे ही वो करो, क्योंकि उनको कभी भी इन सब चीज़ों के वो नहीं रहता कि कोई पढ़ भी ले या फिर कुछ कर ले, क्योंकि ट्रांस जो होता है वो ट्रांस के सिर्फ टोली बस्ती के सिवा और कुछ नहीं सोचता। तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं तो कम्युनिटी हमें सिर्फ एक इसी चीज़ के बारे में समझाती है कि आप टोली बस्ती करो या सेक्स करो, वो कभी भी नहीं चाहेगी कि आप पढ़ो लिखो या फिर कुछ आगे बढ़ो। और ट्रांस भी कर शायद कुछ होते हैं जो नहीं सोचते इस सब के बारे में कि हम लोग आगे पढ़ के लिख के कुछ करें, नहीं वो सोच सकते बस।
अभी तुम ये काम कर रहे हो ना, उसके बाद आपके फ्रेंड्स अभी ये जो आए हैं, क्या सोचते हैं आपके बारे में और आपके काम के बारे में?
तो मेरी कम्युनिटी के जो है ना कुछ ऐसे भी है, मेरे जो गुरु हैं, फ्रेंड्स हैं, वो भी यही बोलते हैं कि मेरी आप आज जो आर्ट करते हो हमें बहुत अच्छा लगता है और आपके हम लोग आर्ट भी देखते हैं, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं इंप्रेस होते हैं इन सब चीज़ के बाद देख के कि आप अच्छा काम कर रहे हो। लेकिन ये है कि हर किसी को प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं मिल पाता ऐसा, तो मैं चाहूँगी कि ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म मिले और प्लेटफॉर्म जब भी मिलेंगे जब आप लोग हमें काम देंगे, क्योंकि आप लोगों ने हमेशा हमें सिर्फ रोड पे भीख मांगते हुए या फिर रात में रोड पे रेड लाइट पे खड़े हुए देखा हुआ है। तो मैं आप लोगों से यही बोलूँगी प्लीज़ आप लोग हमें काम दीजिए और हम भी आपके साथ में काम मिलकर करना चाहते हैं ताकि लोगों की सोच बदल सके।
Vicky said that the system and the conditioning and the setup is such that it starts from the school level. Most of us who identify as trans face violence in school setups, cannot finish their education. Naturally also some tend to like dancing and singing, and that seems like a very natural progression of making money to go into the traditional setup of giving out blessings, dancing at weddings, etc. And people choose it because it also pays good money. And that becomes the factor to keep them there. So a lot of the time she also sees from fellow community members that they are asking her to, hey, there's more money here. Why do you want to go and do something else? There's more security here. There's more community. This is our space. This is the world that we run. Stay here. And of course there's fear when somebody trying to do something else. But she says that now when my guru, so the traditional Hijra culture follows a guru and disciple system. So when my gurus and friends see my art, they do feel proud. But she says that in order for me to inspire them and tell them that there's money here, you need to give me more work. We need to do more to bring more people into it, right? I think we shall be closing it now. But thank you so much for being a lovely audience.